I changed the locks while my wife was at a wine tasting. My brother Tommy and I were the only family we had left. Our parents died when I was 19 and he was 12. I dropped out of college to raise him. We were poor, but we survived. Tommy was a good kid. He wanted to be a mechanic. When he was 20, a drunk driver ran a red light and hit him. Tommy survived, but his right leg was severely broken. He needed multiple surgeries and months of physical therapy. At the time, I was dating a woman named Claire. We had been living together for 2 years in a house I bought. I was offered a contract working on a commercial fishing boat in Alaska. The money was life-changing, but it meant being off the grid for 6 months. I did not want to leave Tommy, but the money would pay off his medical debt. Claire promised to step up. She swore she would drive him to rehab and manage his recovery while I was away. I set up an automatic transfer of $3,000 every month into Claire's personal account. It was supposed to cover his physical therapy, groceries, and bills. I kissed them both goodbye and flew to Anchorage. 2 months into the season, we docked and I finally got cell service. I had a dozen voicemails from Claire. She was hysterical. She said Tommy had become abusive. She said he was using his pain medication to get high, screaming at her and stealing her things to sell. Her final message said Tommy packed his bags and walked out. She said she was terrified of him. I tried calling Tommy, but his phone went straight to voicemail. I sent texts asking how he could do this to us. He never replied. I was stuck on a boat thousands of miles away, and I felt completely helpless. When my contract ended and I came home, Tommy was gone. Claire cried in my arms. She said she tried her absolute best. We got married a year later. 4 years passed. I thought about my brother every single day. Claire would occasionally mention that a friend saw Tommy downtown looking rough. She would sigh and say some people just cannot be saved. I carried the guilt like a stone in my stomach. Last Tuesday, I had to drive 2 towns over to pick up a truck part. I stopped at a hardware store. I was walking down the plumbing aisle when I saw him. Tommy was wearing a store apron, stocking shelves. He walked with a heavy limp. He looked tired, but clean. He was not strung out. He was just working. I walked up to him. I was shaking. I asked him why he threw everything away. And I asked him why he stole from Claire and abandoned his recovery when I was breaking my back on a boat to pay for it. Tommy dropped a box of pipe fittings. He looked at me with pure shock. He asked what I was talking about. He said Claire kicked him out 3 days after my flight left. He said Claire told him I was furious about his medical bills and refused to pay for him anymore. She changed the locks and threw his bags on the driveway. We stood in the middle of the store and compared our lives. I pulled up my old banking records on my phone. I showed him the $3,000 I sent Claire every month for 6 months. Tommy pulled out his wallet and showed me a faded shelter intake card. He lived in a homeless shelter for almost a year. He taught himself how to walk again without physical therapy because he could not afford it. And Claire did not just lie. She pocketed $18,000 while my disabled brother slept on a cot in a gymnasium. She orchestrated his exile to buy designer clothes and fund weekend trips, all while playing the victim. I did not confront her right away. I told Tommy to pack whatever he had at his apartment. I drove back to my house. Claire was out at a winery with her friends for the afternoon. I packed all of her belongings into garbage bags. I did not fold anything. I just shoved her clothes, her shoes, and her jewelry into plastic sacks and dragged them to the front porch. Then I called a locksmith. He changed the front and back doors within an hour. Claire pulled into the driveway at 6 in the evening. I was sitting on the porch steps with Tommy sitting right next to me. The color completely drained from her face. She stopped walking. She did not ask what was going on. She did not try to defend herself. She just stared at the garbage bags. I told her the joint accounts were frozen. I told her I was filing for divorce in the morning. I did not yell. I just pointed at her car and told her to get off my property. She loaded her bags in absolute silence and drove away. Tommy is sleeping in the guest room tonight, and tomorrow I am taking him to find a real physical therapist.